Win on Wednesday. We're going to do that right now. So, Dr. Kim, we spend a lot of time at work. Some of us even spend more time at work than we do at home. Spend more time more with our coworkers than we do our loved ones. So why is it that we can have and expect warfare at home and not warfare at work? So is there such thing as workplace warfare? Help us out here.
Listen, Jermaine, absolutely. Whenever, just like war in the natural, first of all, good evening, Winning on Wednesday listeners. I'm so glad that you're tuning in with us. But I do want to encourage you all, just as Jermaine is saying, we spend more time in the workplace than most of us do with our families. And just like war happens in the natural on many different fronts and in many different places and at different times and different territory in the natural, so it is in the spirit realm. So you will have spiritual warfare in different territory. And so that includes the workplace. And so for many of us believers in the workplace, we don't believe that we can have warfare. And so I just want to let you know, Jermaine, that warfare is pretty much just unforeseen or unseen forces that we are fighting, you know, every day that when we go to work. Just like you said today, you felt like you were winning. That's a victory on a battlefield. And so we have to know that we are in a battle. And that's every day that we are going into the office. Every day we are either you're working from home, you need to understand the battle you are facing. But in order to do that, Jermaine, we have to know, Winning on Wednesday listeners, that you got to acknowledge you are in a war.
Right, that's good. You have to acknowledge it. That's good, Dr. Kim.
Yeah, you have to acknowledge you are in a war. And the first thing is, we think that a war means an all-out melee. A war could simply mean just unforeseen or unseen forces that are attacking you every day, keeping you from being productive, keeping you from being effective at your job, causing you to feel inadequate, causing you to take off of the purpose and move into pettiness. See, that's spiritual warfare. Anything that is unseen, that contradicts your destiny, and it could come in the form of a program, a process, or even a person. So we have to be on watch and on guard to know that spiritual warfare is often just us going to work every day and we encounter something that we cannot see.
Right. And you know, and that is so true, because most of the time we just think work is work, and we just think that people are people, and this person is just that way, that sort of thing. But there is actually a spirituality to it that we should be on watch and recognize.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let me share with you. When we were talking about warfare in the workplace, I want to really bring to the WOW listeners, if you would think about Nehemiah. And so Nehemiah was rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem. And he had been given provision. He had been given permission and procurement. Okay, he had prayed to the Lord. He had an assignment. Many of us are on assignment in the workplace. You have your brand that we talk about. You have your career pathing that we talk about. You even pray about your next step, and is this opportunity for me, and what project am I going to be on? And you pray for success of that project, right? Absolutely. Well, just like Nehemiah, he prayed to God to allow him to go rebuild this wall. That was his assignment. So when he got the permission from the king, remember, he was the cupbearer.
Right.
And so he was faithful in his current position. So I just want to encourage us who are listening on tonight. Are you faithful in your current position? Because he was the cupbearer and he was faithful. And when he asked the king, hey, I want to take a sabbatical, that's pretty much what it was. Let me get some PTO, some vacation, and I want to go on this assignment and build the wall. I want to do this, we call it a stretch assignment in the corporate world. And he did a stretch assignment. Many of us are on stretch assignments that we've been permitted or we've been given because of our performance, just like Nehemiah. And as we are moving on this assignment, I don't want you to think that there's not warfare. Because if you look at it, let me encourage you, first of all, if you take a look at Nehemiah, and I want you all know we got to use biblical principles in this thing called Winning on Wednesday. But I want to take you to Nehemiah 6:15. It says, so the wall was completed on the 25th of Elul in 52 days, y'all.
Right.
And it says, when all of our enemies heard about this, all the surrounding nations were afraid and lost their self-confidence because they realized that this work have been done with the help of our God. I wanted to share tonight, when we're talking about warfare in the workplace, Jermaine, is the number one thing is, did you complete the assignment? Or can you complete the assignment in the middle of the warfare?
Right.
And the reason I'm saying that is because just like you and I, many of the WOW listeners go to work every day, and they're encountering warfare in the form of a difficult project or in the form of a manager or leader or coworker who is causing some dissension, some distractions, and even causing you to come out of your character, right?
Right.
And I just want to encourage you all to remember that when Nehemiah had been given this assignment and he accepted this stretch assignment as a part of his purpose and the plan God had for him, when he did, he also encountered warfare. How do I know that? Because Sanballat and his crew were upset because they heard about them building the wall. There are some people in your organization, there's some people, some friends, some frenemies, and coworkers who are not going to be excited about your advanced assignment. Okay? And they were laughing. They were making fun, questioning his ability and the people to build a wall. But guess what? Nehemiah said, and I promise you all, if you take a look, and I just want to encourage somebody on the night as I encourage myself, sometimes, WOW listeners, you have to work and war. Right.
You do.
We have to work and war. But what we typically do, Jermaine, we'll war, and then we lose the focus on the work and the discipline. And so now we're off track. So I want to encourage you all on tonight, think about Nehemiah building the wall, rebuilding it. And when you take a look at chapter 4 and 16, it says, from that day on, half of my men did the work, while the other half were equipped with spears, shields, bows, and armor. Said the officers posted themselves behind all the people of Judah who were building the wall. Those who carried material did the work in one hand and held a weapon in the other. See, sometimes, Jermaine, you have to work on the project. Sometimes you have to get ahead of the game by being focused, but then you also have to war. And in order to war, you got to know that you're in a battle and you got to know your enemy.
Right. You have to.
Nehemiah never came down, right?
Right. He never came down. You know what? You're absolutely right. And a lot of times we are busy occupying and dealing with the personalities, like you mentioned, that we forget the work, and the work lacks.
Wow.
And that's what gives the devil the victory, because before you know it, you're out the door.
That's it. Because what we do is we begin to take our eyes off of the assignment, and then we begin to focus on the enemy. And so I always say, just like Nehemiah, and I remind myself when I'm in this place where I know that if I'm on this battlefield or I'm experiencing some spiritual warfare, something that's unseen but yet causing a distraction or a delay in my assignment in the workplace, what I remember is Nehemiah said, they asked him, like, come on down here. He was building the wall, and they said, come on down. They're talking about you. They even sent a false letter to him, and he said, I will not come down. And so what I want to say on tonight to the WOW is, you can't come down from your assignment. If you are on a stretch assignment, it's going to be difficult. It may be challenging, but you must remember that you have provision, meaning everything you're doing, God already foreknew that thing, and he's already prepared the way. And then you also have to know that there was procurement. That means the resources are there. If you're having difficulty, look for the resources. And you also have to know he had the people there. There were people waiting to help, and they had the equipment to help.
Right.
So I want to encourage you as you're going through the spiritual warfare that you need to understand, what did I say, Jermaine? It says, so the wall was completed.
Right.
That's a funny thing. It was completed in spite of the warfare.
Right. That's good stuff. And a little bit on the procurement, when you say you have to use the resources, and sometimes you have to use human resources. Hello, somebody.
Listen, see, Jermaine, we're not supposed to go all the way there.
Right.
You have to be able to use the human resources and not stand in a place of pride or not stand in a place of isolation, because what we will do, we'll say, this is my assignment, but there's no way that Nehemiah would have been able to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem had he not have the human resources.
Right.
However, you have to know that that was a part of the provision. And you have to know that you can't use everybody, but there are people who are waiting on you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're waiting right here, not on the sidelines. They're in the game, waiting.
Absolutely.
And they're waiting to war with you in this battle.
Right. Man, you are so right. Well, I tell you what, Dr. Kim, you have definitely helped us deal with and recognize and acknowledge this warfare that we experience in the workplace. And we just appreciate it so much. We know that this is going to help us win, not just on Wednesday, but win every day.
Oh, indeed, Jermaine. And before we go, I have to give some practicality.
Exactly.
So first of all, you all have to remember, you need to discern your assignment.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And with warfare, discernment is being able to identify the enemy's tactics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All
so
right.
that's it. Discern your assignment. And then you also need to pray about your assignment. Many of us are just taking these assignments or going into these positions and we're not praying about it. Okay. And then we also need to understand that when we pray about it, we receive permission or the blessing, which is the covering.
Right.
All right. So I want to encourage you all to know that on tonight. And then I leave you with this, Matthew 28:18. And this is something that's blessing me every single day in the workplace, in business, and in my life. It says all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Let me tell you, that's all I have for tonight, Winning on Wednesday with Dr. Kimberly Ellison. There's spiritual warfare in the workplace, but as I stated already, the wall was completed. You go and complete your assignment in spite of the warfare that you are encountering.
All right, Dr. Kim. Well, thank you. As always, we know that these strategies will continue to help us win on Wednesday and win in the workplace. And we just appreciate you. But go ahead and share your contact information. There may be those that want to hear more, see more, get their hands on your product. How can the WOW family reach you?
First of all, I would love for you to reach me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Dr. Kimberly Ellison. And don't forget Twitter, Dr. K. Ellison. And I just want to give a shout out to those who are international and my national listeners as well. But those international listeners have been sending in their DMs. They've been messaging me, asking questions, going back and listening to the WOW segments. And so I just want to say thank you. And don't forget, go to drkimberlyellison.com and find out all the amazing things that are going on and where I'll be. And I would love for you to meet me at A Glimpse at Greatness on April 5th and 6th. You can go to my website or Facebook page so you can register. I would love to connect with you and see you and just love on you right there at the Glimpse of Greatness. But thank you, Jermaine, for tonight.
All right. Thank you so much. And we look forward to it again on next week. And until then, you be blessed and have a blessed week.
All right. Same to you, Jermaine. Bye now.
All right. Dr. Kimberly Ellison helping us win on Wednesday. And we just appreciate her. Listen, use those strategies. I'm telling you, they work. We hear from the KHVN family all the time, and we want you to just use those strategies. Going to get back into the gospel music right here on the 24-hour gospel music station, Heaven 97 KHVN.